Hey, welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how you can use DaVinci Resolve to quickly create your course videos. This is by no means a full course on DaVinci Resolve. It has features that I haven't even discovered, and I did a full course of 6 months to learn how to edit with a DaVinci Resolve. I will just scratch the surface and show you the 2% that you need to create your course videos, so you can actually create and then sell your course. You can download it for free. I will leave a link in the description. And up until exporting to 4K, I believe, it is completely free. You can use the standard version, the basic version of Resolve. After that, there are some features that you need the Studio upgrade for. The Studio upgrade is, up until now, a one-time purchase upgrade. So that means there's no subscription like in Premiere Pro. You can use this to create your first course, make some money from your course, and then invest it into, for instance, Studio upgrade or some of the other tools that I will show you after this. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into Resolve. So it might be that in this very short tutorial, I show you features that are not included in the free version. So what we start with is we click on Untitled Project, a new project, and I'm calling this Resolve Demo V1. This is the default screen of Resolve. It is set up in a standard way, so that means that you cannot move screens around. This is the standard setup. You have 7 different options here. You have the media pool. That's all the clips that you want to use to create your video. Here's the cut tab, which I personally don't use that often. It's the edit tab. This is where almost everything will happen in what you do. Fusion is the Resolve version of After Effects from Adobe. You can add all kinds of animations and effects. There are already quite a few available in the Edit tab as well. I do not use Fusion that often. I just create videos for social media and for course creation. That's all I do. So I do not use After Effects or Fusion a lot. I sometimes do it when I want to have something fancy, like having text behind me. But in general, I don't use it a lot. Here is the tab for color correction. Here's Fairlight, where you can make changes in the audio. Just like with Fusion, you have a lot of audio improvement options already in the Edit tab. And eventually, if you have a video that you want to actually export and upload to, for instance, Udemy or whatever course platform, here's the Deliver page. Almost everything happens in Edit. So that's where I'm moving right now. Here is the media pool, which is the Edit equivalent of the full media pool that you have over here. This is where you collect the clips that you want to use in your recording. So I'm going back to Edit, where most of your work will be done, and I'll show you how you can create a course video from your footage that you recorded in one of the previous lectures. I'll take one of my old recordings. I have one here. I'm dragging this either in the media pool over here, or I can immediately drag it here in the timeline. And it doesn't look like a timeline yet, but if I drag this in here, you can see that this is the timeline. This is the start of your video, and here is the end of your video. If you want to make that smaller, there's a small button right here, and you can make your timeline smaller and larger. The timeline is split up in 2 different parts. Here's the video part, and I've chosen in the settings to actually see the video in here. You can make it smaller and not have these thumbnails in here, but I find it really helpful to recognize the videos that I recorded before. And here is your audio. Here are the waveforms. If I start playing this video, based on these waveforms, I will probably not be saying anything until right here. There's a small noise right here, but this is where the actual talking takes place. So let's test that. Hey, welcome back. Of course, in the meantime, I'm recording this in 4K in the background. So all this is eating up memory, which means that there's a small lag there. If eventually you have created your video, it will be in sync. So don't worry about that. This entire video, of course, there are parts in this video that you don't need. The information I want to cut out, I usually do that based on the waveform. So first, let's make that a little bit bigger. And I think I need to boost the audio a little bit. So what I start with in my workflow, I click the right mouse button and I click Normalize Audio Levels. And normally you take either -6 decibels, but there is a standard option here to normalize for a YouTube video, which is fine. So normalize, the waveforms here will be a little bit bigger. So what it does is it normalizes the entire audio. So the parts that are a little bit silent, it boosts that audio a little bit up. And the parts that are very loud, it dims that sound a little bit. So if I now switch it on. Hey, welcome back. Let's talk about video editing, a step. There we go. So it sounds a little bit better already. Here is your cut tool, your blade tool. And if you click here, you make a cut in this part of your video. What I normally do is I use a button combination, by the way, but if I would cut it like this, which is how you would start if you actually start editing, right mouse button, ripple, delete. So it removes this part, and a ripple in the ripple delete means that it moves your entire clip in the timeline up to the left, because if you just remove it, if you click cut, this is where it is, and it means that there's no video at the start of your timeline. Like this is the start of your video. We've cut out this part right here, because normally if you would export this video, there would be just nothing but silence and just a black screen before the actual video starts. So I'm undoing this with Control Z. And what I'm doing instead, right mouse click, and instead of cut, ripple, delete. And you will see that it will move the clip that you want to keep to the left. So this is now the start. For this example, I'll keep this really short. So I'll go through this. Hey, welcome back. Let's talk about video editing, a step you can either keep really simple or take to the next level, depending on your personal goals. Well, that's a good sentence, right? So what I can do is I can do the same. I cut this part because I don't need the first take, and I click ripple delete. I make a cut here, and I can cut this out if I want. But remember, if I take this part out, it will move my hand from here to here. This is one clip, and this is the next clip. So at the end of the day, you will have 50 different clips that you export as one video. But for this example, we will export like 5 to 10 different clips together and act as if that is the course video that I want to export. Whether I export 10 or 50 clips into a video, it doesn't make a difference for this tutorial, for this video. So let's go through this. You have started this course creation journey, and you already found out just how many videos you need to create for just one single course product. If you then add your future... This is a good part. So I'm making this cut right here and making a cut right here, because this is where I start talking. This is just some background noise here. So removing this part, ripple delete. So now I have clip number 3. If you then add your future landing pages or VSLs or video sales pages, and then promoting your course with videos on social media, you realize that editing videos is or will be a big chunk of what you'll... So I didn't finish this sentence, so this part of the clip I can just simply remove. Let's right click, ripple, delete. Simply put, if you want to be successful online and eventually make a living from it, you will have to create and thus edit video content. So it's a skill worth developing and polishing. So I'm cutting this out and this. Of course, you don't have to do this, but I try to keep my videos as short as possible to respect your time and cut out most of the silences. And first, the good news. There are plenty of free... So I can keep this silence in here if I want. But for the purpose of explaining the concept of these clips and stitching these clips together, I will cut this part out. Developing and polishing. And first, the good news. There are plenty of free and professional video editing tools out there that you can choose from. From basic apps that you can use for free on your Mac or Windows PC, to professional software like Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, or perhaps CapCut. This silence is a little bit too long for my taste, so I'm cutting this part out. This is how it works. This is how you cut your video into clips. The good thing about that software is that they have a really good, if not the best, mobile app to edit on the go. We'll dive into actual... I'm cutting this out. Ripple delete. Dive into actual editing tutorials in later videos. But for now, I want to help you make the right choice for your specific situation. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just your answer. Cutting this out. And you can see a pattern here. If the waveform is flattening, that means there's no sound, and that is usually where I make the cut. Of course, there are now AI tools that do this work for you. This is your full video. I have dragged that onto the timeline and I'm making manual edits here. And here you can see what the power is of upgrading to the paid version or the studio version of Resolve, because of course AI can do this for you. I explained to you how I edit my videos based on the waveform. So whenever there is no sound appearing as a waveform on the timeline, I make a cut and I remove the silence. That's how I make a rough cut of my videos. Of course, checking a waveform is something that AI can do for you. So here's my entire original recording. So uncut, just how I recorded it on my camera, or perhaps in your case on your phone. Right click, AI tools, audio transcription, transcribe. This is what the transcription looks like. So you've just heard some of the clips on the timeline, but I indeed start with, hey, welcome back, let's talk about video editing. Here's another take. Hey, welcome back. Hey, welcome back. I usually need a few takes to do this right. What you also see is that there are brackets with dots in here, and that indicates a silence. So what you can do, this is the whole transcription, so everything I say is here written out. So what I usually do is move here to a new feature in the latest versions of Resolve, remove silent portions. And what it does, it strikes through the silent portions here. There we go. Silence, silence, silence. And if I then click on one of these two, either append or insert, I can use one of these depending on if there's already something on my timeline. But I can use these buttons to move this text minus whatever I have now excluded, in this case the silent portions, down on your timeline. I can also use this opportunity to remove some of the double takes that I did. For instance, normally the latest take or the last take is the best one. So here I start with, hey, welcome back. Let's talk about video editing. That's the start of my video. Everything up here are all wrong takes. So what I can do is next to the silences, I can select this and click right mouse button and say delete. And then it strikes through these first takes. This way, you can easily edit your entire video without even watching any waveforms or without even scrubbing through the video to see if you messed up somewhere. Let's see if there's anything that is really double that needs to be taken out. If you're building a personal brand and video is or will be your main way of, here I messed up, I stopped, I tried it again, I stopped, and here I start again. If you're building a personal brand, I can remove this take, and this take. Right mouse button, remove. So now this is a very short video. I made this just to show you how editing works. Now I have only text that I want to keep for this video. So what I do is I select everything. So I click somewhere and I click Control A, in this case to select everything. And if I click here on append on the timeline, it will take everything that I didn't remove, for instance, this part. And it will take all these clips and add them next to each other on the timeline. I will show you. My timeline is right here. And now I click here on append. There we go. So depending on the settings, it has now removed all the silences and all the double takes, which makes your life as a video creator a whole lot easier. But this is what AI did. Everywhere where there was a silence, it took it out and it just collated all these clips together into one video. Let's do a quick check. I won't bore you with going through all the footage again, but let's move to here where two clips come together. Part of your online business. Simply put, if you want to be successful online and eventually make a living from it, you will have to create and thus edit video content. So it's a skill worth developing and polishing. And first, so this is incredible, right? So this will certainly help you. It is part of the studio version, as I said before. So this is an upgrade versus the free version that you can download. But this can literally save you days, and depending on your course length, even weeks of your life creating courses. Back to the main video. You can see that this is not a perfect take because I'm looking at my notes that are on my desk here. But for now, I don't really mind. Of course, you can put B-roll on top of this. Add another video on top of this video, so you don't see this. The only thing you here is the sound of my voice in the background. That's called B-roll. Learn the tools properly. Invest the time and invest in the software. And I mean both in the actual monetary investment, but especially in time. This will eat up a lot of your time. However, if you're... Okay, so I can cut this part out as well. I can cut this out. If you're focused on just getting your course out there and the editing is just a simple step in the process, a mere means to an end, then keep it lean. Use what's quick and what's free. What matters is that your message is... Cutting this out. Instead of clicking play all the time, you can use your space bars. If you click once, it starts playing the video. If you then press again, it stops playing, like this. Your delivery is confident. Polish helps, but clarity sells, as they say. Then it stops playing. We'll cover editing in more depth later with step-by-step tutorials in both Premiere Pro and in DaVinci Resolve. But for now, pick your tool, get comfortable with the basics, and don't get stuck trying to make everything perfect. Let's move on to the first tutorial. So this is the end of this very short video. Ripple delete. So I'm removing the end. Let me show you. Like, this is all silence until the end of this clip. So I can cut this out. And if I now zoom out, you can see that these are all the different clips that make up this video. My first courses did not have an intro or an outro. But of course, you can go to Fiverr and have one made for you, an intro and an outro. But these are all the individual clips that make up my course video. Now, some other basics. If I go to any of these clips, currently I'm here on the blade tool, but if I want to select a clip, I go to here, which is the selection tool. So I click on this first clip, and now I can make changes to this first clip and only this clip. If I want to make changes to several clips, I can just select different clips here on the timeline and make those changes. But right now, to show you, I'll just select the first clip. Let's say I want to zoom in a little bit. You go here to the inspector tool. If you don't see it, just click here on the top right part of the tool, the inspector. Here, in the video tab, you can make changes to the video. If you want to make changes to the audio, there's an audio tab right here. But in video, you can, for instance, zoom in. And you can do that by entering a number here. Currently, it's set at 1. But you can also just hover on this number, click, and either move to the right or to the left. And of course, if I zoom out, there will be blank space around it. So it doesn't make sense to zoom out. And in this specific example. But if I want to zoom in a little bit, I can go here. And that's how you can make a distinction between different clips. So instead of having the jittery movement of having your hand in one position and then in another, between the two clips where you cut out some of the footage, you can also use the zoom option to have a more logical transition between two clips, because this is what you are used to seeing on, for instance, YouTube. Let's take a look. The next level, depending on your personal goals. You have started this course creation journey. See that? Personal goals. You have started this. The guy who taught me how to edit hates this, because this is, in the eyes of some people, certainly not professional, right? You can either use a professional transition right here, like video transitions. You can blur dissolve, you can cross dissolve, right? There are different options how to morph between two different clips. But this is the way how most people do it, and how you can edit fast, which is of course really important if you want to speed up your course creation process. So right now I'll leave it like this. From a slightly zoomed in clip, right? It's 14% zoomed in to, and this one is at 100%. By the way, do you notice that if we have changed this first clip and we are currently playing through the timeline and we are now in the second clip, you see that this is still at 14% zoom, while this second clip, we didn't zoom in at all. The reason for that is that we have still selected this first clip. So if I click this, you will see that it's still at 1.0, which is not zoomed in, which is the original position of the clip. And you can see that right here. Okay? What you can also do is you can select multiple clips. And let's say that you really like the 14% zoom that you have right here, because it cuts out something that's in the background that you don't want to have in the screen, in your composition, as they call it. And you can just go to the second clip, double click on this number, and change this into 1.14. And then it zooms that second clip in exactly the same position as this one. I'm undoing that. Moving on to the third clip. Course product. Simply put, if you want to be successful online and eventually... So this one is still zoomed in the original 100%. And this one, you can of course either zoom in to the 14% that's the same as this, or you can take something different like 20% and zoom in a bit more. So don't leave it at the exact same zoom as the previous video if some of the footage is cut out in between. Let's change this into 1.9 or something. And here's the transition again. For just one single course product. Simply put, if you want to be successful online and eventually make a living from it, you will have to create and thus edit video content. So it's a skill worth developing. Zoomed out a little bit to 100%. So this is again 9% zoomed in. And this is again at 100%. You can do that for your entire video. And at the end of the day, remove those cuts, right? And make them less distracting by zooming in and zooming out. That's a simple trick. So once you have all your clips and you're happy with it, you go to deliver and you can make an export. And I made it really, really simple here in Resolve. You can go to YouTube, for instance, and everything is set exactly right for a YouTube export in 1080p, which is full HD. If I click this, now it changes my video here on the timeline from the original 4K video that I used for editing, and it changes it back to 1080p, to full HD. If you recorded videos on your phone before, you either did that in 1080, so in full HD, or you did that in 4K. On iPhones, the standard resolution for recording is normally 4K nowadays. You can take that footage, but you don't need 4K videos for a course. So by simply clicking YouTube 1080p, it changes everything to 1920 by 1080. You can check all this, but this is all set on the YouTube standard, which is perfect for your course videos. And what you then do is you add it to your render queue. For this tutorial, I will save the video in courses. Of course, you need to give it a name. Let's give it the name My First Course, Lecture 1.1. Save, and now it pops up in what they call render queue. So here you clicked on add to render queue. This is your actual render queue. This is a feature that works really well because you can make multiple videos, and then, for instance, at the end of the day or at the end of the evening when you start creating your course videos, you can just click this one and have all the videos that you parked here in your render queue and get them rendered all at the same time while you are sleeping. Right now we only have one, and we click on render all. And right now it is creating your video, and it's now at 5%, it's at 6%, 8%. Let's see what it looks like. Hey, welcome back. Let's talk about video editing, a step you can either keep really simple or take to the next level, depending on your personal goals. You have started this course creation journey and you already found out. So there you go. You have just created your first course video, your first lecture, and you did it for free because Resolve is free. Try to make your first video, and if you're successful, you can of course create the rest. But this is how you very easily create the lectures for your course. In other lectures, I will show you how you can do exactly the same thing with other software like Premiere Pro, CapCut, and some other tools. So if this doesn't work for you, there are some other options for you as well. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next software tutorial.